Good morning and welcome to another edition of Roadhouse Live. We are live. Today is October. No, take that back. This is November 20th, 2023, on the week of the Thanksgiving. Bender, Stonkington, well, or just Bender, how are you feeling on the week of the Thanksgiving?
I'm not ready. Not ready. That is going to be the theme of the end of November for me, going into December. Not ready.
Yeah.
Not ready.
Yeah.
We got a quote. Last week I had to go meet a guy out at the ranch that's going to put in a road for us and do some site prep. We have to bury some stuff in the ground, so we got a place to dispose of bodily fluids and other things, right? So we got a quote, and I saw the number, and I was like, damn. The road, which is just road base, just gravel, basically, right? But it's compacted. It's like 1,650 feet, and I think that part of it is 40 grand.
Yeah.
I'm like, for a dirt road?
Yeah.
Come on.
Stab you in the face.
God. And this is a friend. Like this is like the friends and family discount. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, but to truck in 700 tons of road base, I'm like, can't we just use, like, we got rocks everywhere on the product. Can we do that? You know? Yeah. Apparently it doesn't work that way.
Yeah. No, it did. I was thinking this weekend, and this is Thanksgiving, so let's just be honest here. The market's going to move the way it's going to move. So we can do story time here for a second before we get into the actual technicals. Other than looking at a massive bull flag on the 15-minute on NQ, just mark that in your hat. There is that. But what I noticed and what I was dealing with this weekend, Bender, much different than you, but when I lived in the big city, okay. If I had an issue with anything, there are like 30 people I could call and they would fight to come do the work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Living in where I do now, population of less than 3,000, you can't get anybody to return a call.
Yeah.
You can't get anybody to even acknowledge your existence. And if you do get somebody, they're going to tell you they're booked to next year.
Yep.
So for me, it was Saturday morning. I woke up and there was something wrong with the wood burning stove, and I couldn't figure out what the hell was going on. And it was like just leaking smoke everywhere. And then I was like, what the? It's like there's like, it had the pipes, the exposed pipes, I guess had rusted or something, and were just leaking smoke everywhere. It was like a smokehouse. Oof. It was like we were running a open pit barbecue in the middle of the house.
Yeah.
So I'm like, fuck. It's like I don't know what to do with this. So immediately you get on the phone, call a bunch of people that are in the area. All of them closed on the weekend. Every last closed. Went to the Yelp, went to the little what's that little service where you put your stuff in and they send it out to all the vendors, that kind of stuff. No response from any of these people in any capacity. Then one person texts me and says, hey, send me some pictures. I send him some pictures. He's like, oh yeah, no, that's rusted out, blah, 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 blah. This is your problem. You're gonna have to redo all the piping. So I was like, fantastic. When can you get out here? Week before Christmas.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting here going, we can't do this, because it's like the wood burning stove is like a big piece of our heat.
Can you see where it's leaking smoke?
Absolutely. 100%.
Go get some foil tape.
Went and got some foil tape. Did not help. This thing just found, it was like the boy in the dike. It's like, hey, can we get it to stop? It's like, no, we cannot. Cannot.
Hmm.
It was just it was beyond repair. Let's put it like that. So
All
I'm sitting
right.
here going, it's like all these people. It's like so I'm like, okay, dude. It's like if I'm gonna survive in this environment, I got to learn to do this shit myself. I'm gonna have to. I have to. So did the Googling, looked at the YouTubes, did all that kind of stuff, went to Home Depot, loaded up, got all the stuff that I needed, brought it back, then realized that I didn't have exactly what I needed. So I had to go back to Home Depot and then come on back. It took me, I don't know, to take the piping down, to clear the duct, which Bender, it was completely clogged. It looked like a giant came and shit coal down the chimney. And absolutely, it was impassable, like hard rock, that creosote stuff, whatever. Clean that. It took me about 2 hours to do the work overall. And we have a perfectly running, like it is awesome. Awesome.
Nice.
Completely done. So I'm sitting here going, and so I do all
Is there a
this.
point to all this?
The point basically being, number one, you have to be prepared to do things yourself. Number two, you're capable of anything if you choose to do it. If you choose to do it, you're capable of whatever you want to do in life. But you have to make that choice, that conscious decision that you're going to get it done. And you can't be relying upon other people, which was very, very interesting to me in figuring out. Now, ultimately, it's all done. So what do I get? The guy who said he couldn't come out until December texted me this morning at 7:30 saying, "Hey, I had a cancellation. Is it okay to come out today?" With the work already done.
Yep. Sorry, dude. I took care of it.
Right?
All right. Yeah.
Right? I just
Okay.
You go ahead. I don't have anything to say other than we get Fed minutes tomorrow. We get a little bit of data here and there. This is all going to be the story of the Thanksgiving week, and seeing if Elon cannot fuck up. That's really the week that we have in front of us, at least for me. So why don't you go ahead and walk us through this big old bull flag on the 15-minute? Walk us through how Bear has no shot without a headline. Walk us through all of those things real quick, because technically they're screwed. If you could do that, that would be great. And
let's take a look. And for you crypto players, if we have time at the end, we'll just kind of talk about the Bitcoin chart a little bit. But yeah, let's get into it. So here's this is what we're looking at right now is a 15-minute. I'm going to zoom out a little bit here. Here's a 60-minute on the ES. And I just kind of wanted to point out this trend line down here. That is currently intact. I would not be surprised, if they give you that, oh my gosh, the trend line broke thing, right? That can certainly happen, and then recover and pull back up above. I'm going to also highlight this 60-minute fair value gap right here. Why? Because we left that fair value gap behind, traded down into it thus far, holding as support, right? I think below that level, if it gets below this 45.18, 45.19 area, you can see we had a couple of wicks below, but the bodies of these candles currently holding above. And I think if that area, if we get below that and a 60-minute candle, the body of it gets down below it, closes below it, that could set up a trade for some of these levels down here, closer to 4,500. If, Hells was just saying, like, yeah, big old bull flag, right? If this continues to hold, you can see, we'll go into a 15-minute now. You kind of see this area right in here where there is supply, aka resistance. And we've got this trend line here, 2 taps.
What's the number one rule when it comes to supply, Bender?
I don't know. What's the number one rule when it comes to supply?
You don't get high on your own supply.
Oh, that's very good. Very good. Yeah, I wasn't on that wavelength at the moment. But you can see this 45.34 pre-market here. This level right in here, acting as resistance. So we get above that 45, 30, 34. You've got this 15-minute fair value gap right in here, but above 34, and I wouldn't necessarily expect it to stop up in here. Still have these relative equal highs sitting 45.39.5, and then this candle's high 41.25. One thing to note is that we are set up going into the day as with potential for seek and destroy type action. You can see the London session lows and highs took out everything from the Asia session, which is right in here, which was pretty much flat, right? And then the London session swept the lows, swept the highs. So worth noting, doesn't mean that's what it will do, but we are kind of set up that way. And I see, this trend line here, this trend line here, and then, this sort of flat top area up in here acting as resistance. So it's like, okay, it's going to break this trend line first or come down here and break this trend line first. I want to see kind of what they do on the open and what they set us up for. If we are indeed going to be seek and destroyish, I will be looking for, short-term market structure shift reversals when those highs or lows get swept. And I think that's about all I got.
That's about all he's got. Stonks, what you got, buddy?
Oh, man. We got stuff. We got Smash. We got news. We got Dark Pool. Let's see what we got. Jump into it here. Let's see what we got on the headlines first. Let's see. I'm down a screen this week at the parents' place, so I'm going to be, watching a little less porn during the day than usual, but should be good. Microsoft, that Sam Altman guy, he's coming back. That was quick. Microsoft already up 1%. That could be a good watch this week. Starbucks no longer.
The flow into Microsoft was very, very bullish before the headline on Friday, and then they beat its ass. But it's like going into it before the headline, the Microsoft flow was exceptionally bullish. One of the tickers that was really standing out.
Yeah, we've been talking about that was all last week, and it's not like the flow changed in that last 30 minutes of the day on Friday. And they bought it right back. The guy's back. So I think that could be a good watch. Starbucks no longer China's largest coffee chain. OpenAI hiring former Twitch CEO to run the company. Deutsche Bank's going to buy Murderplane. Nicholas CFO is going to resign. Let's see. JP Morgan upgrades Birkenstocks. Anything else? Let's see. Walmart doing some kind of management call because they sucked at their ER. And let's see if there's anything else interesting over here. Let's see. Rose upgraded and ChargePoint downgraded again. That thing's going to zero. Dell's a buy. Someone lowered their price target on Costco. Enphase price target lowered, and Sedge, so solar has just been getting wrecked lately. United Health UNH price target lowered. So let's get into some charts here. We've been stuck in November not smashing, but we've got a potential smash day to the downside. The SPY is the only one that is technically in play because we closed just above the prior day's high. So we'd be looking for a short below this low. We'll get an alert that pops in the room. And the stop would be above this high from the 17th on Friday. You can see we jump over to the Qs. We did not close above prior day's high. So I still have an alert set on this low here. If we break that and actually missed this one on the IWM, this would have been a smash day short. And so that would have worked for Mr. Laird because this was a close above the prior day's high. So I'm just going to leave this alert open here on this gap if we were to come back down and need to fill that in, this gap on the daily from the CPI last week on the IWM. So if we jump over into the NASDAQ, see what we got. All right, so I have marked up this blue box. This isn't a fair value gap or anything. This is just our range that we were stuck in this all of last week. Bang, 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 bang. So I think these levels are going to be important to keep on the chart there. We've got our new week opening gap. It was a decent size one. And then you've got your little flag that you mentioned on a shorter time frame up in there. We've got stops there now. We would be looking for what's building out. The ones below, there's a lot of stuff down here. You can see this is going to be a key level if we need to push down. Got this little trend line, similar to what Bender had. We probably have one below as well here on the NASDAQ. So we'll see what we get. Not with the short week, probably low volume. I think, indices could be a difficult trade this week. I'm going to be looking for flow. We're going to look at some small cap, basically the idea, looking for someone who forgot to set a stop, and maybe we'll get some squeezy type stuff on some random little names. We'll take a look at those. Let's check out the Russell. All right, so let's see. I guess I don't have all my markup here, but I guess maybe it's hidden now. Okay, so this was kind of the main thing I was going to be looking for here on the Russell, was all these stops sitting right here. I want to see if they just wanted to piss people off, stop out there for a push back down. You can see if we jump over to the 4 hour, that's exactly what they did right over here. They stopped out there and then pushed it back down. So now we've popped this level. So I'm going to be seeing if this could be a short over here on the Russell now that we've stopped everybody out that had their break even stop right there. So I'm going to see if we get momentum continuation to the upside on the Rusty. The other thing you can kind of start to see building out is we've got this like trend line to the upside. And then we'll see if they're going to do some kind of bear flag type thing on a longer time frame. Just going to watch for flow. But so that's what we got over on the Rusty. For some other tickers that I have on watch, talking about some smaller stuff, I'm going to be looking at Rivian. So the last two sells on Rivian were very news driven. Around here was when they announced an offering, and then bam, down. And then here was ending exclusivity with Amazon. So I have alerts set. This was a weekly inside bar. I'm going to be watching if we can pop this range on Rivian. Kind of looks like a falling wedge in here based on this longer time frame. The other thing that was interesting is if we throw on these fibs, you can see on the daily range, bull stepped in here at the 786 retracement. Also found some bulls in the flow over the weekend. I'll drop that in the room in a minute. But so yeah, kind of leaning towards for upside on Rivian, especially if Elon is going to continue to just be an idiot. Maybe this is a better EV choice. The other one, looking at, again, squeezy action and smaller names. We'll see if anything can happen over here. Weekly, a very tight range on Affirm. Daily kind of looks like a double top, and these have also been some news-driven pops. So we had the gap up on ER, and then they did the buy now, pay later with Amazon right after. So this is that gap right here on the daily. Got an alert set if we were to break. This is a key level below, and we're kind of stuck in this rising setup. So we're going to see what we get over here on Murder Loan. Aside from that, that's all I got. Drop some other charts in the room, but kind of what I'm looking at.
So a couple of things. For the most part, when it comes to holiday weeks, having done this for a while, you usually range trade. Don't get too comfortable with anything. It's going to be a range. We're going to retrace the same levels over and over and over again historically, from my memory. Certain areas to make sure that you're watching for flow as far as direction. One of the big ones obviously is going to be retail with Black Friday. So Amazon, Target, Walmart, even Kohl's, that kind of stuff. Keeping a close watch on that. Airlines also, big travel week, massive travel week, headline driven as far as, oh, there's more people in the airport that have ever existed, or, oh, delays X, Y, and here, or this or that. Very, very subject to headlines and whatever news releases that they want to put out, both in advance of the weekend and going into next week. So airlines usually get a pump and run. Retail usually gets a pump. But this environment's a little bit different. They are expecting a very, very heavy travel week. So I think airlines will be something to keep a very close watch on. I don't know if there's any legitimate car rental companies, that kind of stuff, but obviously, those are things that go hand in hand with airlines. So keeping an eye on that flow, at least if nothing else, if the flow is there, you have a narrative at your back as far as it pushing also. Those are the areas that I would be looking for the most. You have to have very low expectations with weeks like this, mainly based on the fact that volume, dries up. People are off doing their thing. A lot of people aren't even trading. The week is off. They're just not dealing with it, knowing that odds are we're going to trade these exact same levels again next week. That's just the nature of the game when it comes to holiday weeks. That's where my mindset is. That's what I'm looking for. Bender, did you want to jump in and do the dealy majigget?
Yeah. Let's take a look at it real quick.
Which again, crypto during the holidays, if we go back to the old days while you're pulling up the chart, you used to get these massive moves on like Thanksgiving night and Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. It's like you would get these big moves, usually to the upside on crypto, because everybody talks Uncle Larry into buying, his first Bitcoin, pieces of Bitcoin or whatever else, because you're like, well, I got to be a part of this run moving forward. You just get that type of enthusiasm coming back together around the dinner table when family kind of reconvenes, if you will. Historically, it's been like that. So I think the chart is a great idea to walk through.
Well, a couple things to point out here. We're looking at a weekly, and you can see the top of this weekly fair value gap being 37,400. And you can see the body of these weekly candles right up against that, right? So kind of that next move, if it is going to move higher, you get a weekly close above 37,400, and you can see this thing can really get going to the upside. 50% retracement of this down move, 42,240. I don't have this. Let me grab the 618 here. Like so. So 42,240 being 50%, 48,555 being the 618. That's the bigger picture on the weekly. So if there are folks looking to short or sell or whatever, it would be potentially inside of this zone, right? We'll move into a daily and we'll grab the 50% retracement on the daily as well. Let me change this back to.
Is that crazy to think that was trading around 15,000, and if you would have bought there and held through, you'd be 3xing based on what you're charting out there? Crazy.
Yeah. We are through, as far as the fibs on the daily, we have cleared the 618 on the way back up. So this was the bigger picture move that I was showing earlier. But now if we look at the more recent price action, looking at the daily, you can see we are, if we use 48, what is that? 48,234 as the high, and then the lows down here, the 50% retracement that acted as resistance. You can see right in here, when you get to that 50% level, it took a while. These are daily candles, took a while before it busted through, and when it did, it ran through that 618. You can see it kind of wicked off that a little bit, and now it's trading above. So now we're looking at potentially that 50% retracement off the bigger picture move on the weekly. This 37,665 is top of the fair value gap on the daily. And it's, right up against it. So this candle's high, just over 40,000, 40,050. I mean, this is, Bitcoin is set up right here. If it gets that move, say over 38K, it's probably going to take this out at 40,050. And if it can trade and maintain, hold above 38,000, maybe it trades over 40K and gets a pullback. If it can hold up here above 38K, it can make that move up over 43, potentially over 48. Now, I threw fibs on here for this up move. And you can see the 50% retracement of this up move is down here around 31.5. So if it really starts to pull back with any sort of, force, I would see what it does at 35K. If it takes that out, see what kind of reaction you get. You can see there's everything in here down under 33,441, 33,488, kind of right in here. If it gets below that, that would kind of take all this stuff out, and then you'd look, see what kind of reaction you get. But it's set up nice. Set up nice.
Very nice. Very nice.
Other thing I want to quickly pull up here, because I know there's some folks in it from last week, is HE. Build that gap, right? This is the daily here. The next move, if it wants to continue higher, potentially 1465, followed by 1539 would take all this stuff out, and then you have that,
The
obviously,
death spiral.
yeah, the death spiral from 40 something, right? So above 1540s, it can really start getting some mojo up in here into the 1750s. That's where I would, once it fills this in, kind of head on a swivel up in here. You got that daily fair value gap above 17. If it wants to get up and play with this area, backfill some of this stuff, right? On the flip side, you can see a double bottom here on the daily at 1134. So I'm in this, but certainly not blind to the fact that it could come down and take this stuff out. Should it decide to do that, 1134 would be that level where you have a double bottom formed.
All right. All right.
That's about it.
That's about it. All right, everybody. We know what the game is. We know what the score is. We know where we're at. Potentially know where we're going. Let's see what Flo has to say. Let's be, it's one of those things that I don't think consciously anybody wants to do anything to have a shitty Thanksgiving. So if that's the case, trade lightly. Be very selective. And if it passes you up, it passes you up. Don't sweat it. There's always tomorrow. There's always next week. There's always another round. So don't stress. Just let it come to you. Anyways, that's what I got. You got anything else?
Nope.
All right.
I think we covered it and then some.
Let's do it. We got 9 minutes until open.
Do it.
See you soon.
See you soon.